Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So I'd like to give you a quick follow-up tour on my garden so you can see how things are coming along. As you can tell, this autumn frost from Proven Winners, it's a hosta, is really starting to come out in this container. I think it looks really pretty with those pansies. I think those pansies are probably going to last a few more weeks. And I filled in a couple of impatiens on the side here, and I think they look so cute. If you're enjoying my channel, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of our community. It makes me super happy to have everybody on here and talking about what they're doing in their gardens. Alright, well let's take a look at what's around. These hostas are really starting to fill out front here. I moved a couple of them out last year because I actually planted too many, and as they age, they tend to get to their maximum size. So they're just about there now. Doesn't the sun look beautiful as these plants glow? The heucheras are starting to put up some of their beautiful little flowers. And amazingly enough, some of the bleeding heart flowers are still happening. Many of my chives now are in full bloom. Also, my macrophylla geraniums here are putting out their blooms now. They're small, but they are pretty. It's such a nice plant for just about any area of the garden. And we'll just look up here. I have a beautiful Japanese maple. And this is one that I grew from a small stick that was about probably 6 inches when I actually got the tree initially. Again, all of these hostas and the maidenhair fern are just really filling out, and I think this bed just looks so nice and restful because of all of the greens and blues and the subtle shades that blend together. My pink sparkler spirea bush is starting to put on some of its blooms. I think that one's pretty cute. And my Fothergilla over here, this one is just starting to turn much more blue. Isn't that gorgeous? It's a beautiful bush, and it's just really loving its spot here. Can't wait to see it put on its little bottle brush flowers. And then I have my Ilex holly right here that is also getting ready to push out some new growth. Over here, this Weigela is definitely enjoying life, and this is its first full year in the garden. I planted it last year, and it definitely seems to be happy and is putting on its blooms as well. So we'll head out to the front now to the sun garden and take a look at what's going on out here. The alliums are starting to subside, the purple sensation ones. So you'll see they are starting to already die back a bit. Some people might actually begin cutting the seed heads back at this time, but I enjoy leaving them because I think it makes for a nice ornament, and then I can collect the seeds as well if I want to plant them in other places in my yard, which I do plan to do. And I did that last year, which helps me multiply what I have at very low cost. I do need to come in here really soon and start cutting back the mums, or pinching back the mums, so that they stay nice and bushy. And you can just see all of the salvias are really starting to flush out. And I'm going to show you these other alliums really quick. I don't know how to pronounce them. I think it's Van Vienzi. But aren't they gorgeous? They remind me a little bit of giant dandelion heads with a tint of pink in them, but the foliage, again, I just love that foliage. And my oak leaf hydrangea here, the leaves are getting much bigger. We finally got just a skosh of rain, a little bit, enough to be able to actually allow the plants to begin to feel like they could relax a little bit and put some new growth out. And we have some Allium giganteum right here in the middle of my boxwoods. I thought that would be kind of a cool thing just to see them peeking out over the top. And I really do like the way that it looks. Many of the Dianthus that I have planted are also starting to bloom here out front. This Maynite Salvia is really incredible. It's starting to put on its show, and I just love the deep dark purple on that one. And then my Yuki Cherry Blossom Deutzia is starting to put out some blooms as well. And the cherry tree is just looking lovely as always as it weeps. And everything that's growing under it, the hostas and the sedum and the purple coneflower and the geranium, mums and the painted ferns, they're all doing really well right now. And I think a lot of that is just because we got maybe a 1/4 inch of rain and we really have been missing the rain. So the light's a little bit weird on this bed right now, so you probably can't see very well. But things in this garden are doing all right. They are definitely going to struggle a little bit more because of the lack of rain, and because this was a bed that was established last year with fresh new plantings this year. But the petunias are helping, and I can tell that some of these Veronicas here are going to start putting out blooms soon. And I can tell that the Ajuga is doing just fine because it is also getting bigger. And yeah, so everything seems happy. The viburnums are definitely getting their blooms are starting to turn whiter, so I think those are going to open in the next few days. The peonies are also quite big. Try to get rid of my shadow here for you. And they are starting to split open. That's the Festiva Maxima. It's a white one. They have some darker pink blooms as well as some light pink blooms. These were here when I actually bought the house. One of the very few things that was in the garden that is still here. I have some pretty Merlot Rose Salvia in the back there. That's a pink. I'm just going to try to see if I can stand back from this garden so you can kind of get the full effect of what it looks like right now. It's really starting to come into its own with all of the salvias and the baptisia and the chives that are in bloom right now. So just to give you a little bit of a panorama of it. But isn't the salvia gorgeous? And I can get like 3 flushes of blooms out of those. And here's some more chives and little tucked in Dianthus. And then these tiny wine 9-barks are also starting to bloom as well. You can see a little bloom in the center. And look at the baptisia, you guys. It's really nice now, isn't it? Such a beautiful color. And this year, after it's done blooming, I'm going to cut it back completely. You can actually leave it if you want to, but I've done that many years, and it leaves some beautiful seed pods, but if I cut it back, it stays a little bit more manageable and doesn't flop over. So these royal ferns, you can tell they have really almost reached their full height. In effect, they're probably about 4 feet tall right now. And then they will start to lean forward this way and splay out a bit. This cute little bobo hydrangea over here is looking good. Let's head into the back. Look at this clematis. Isn't that gorgeous? Just look at the color on those blooms. It's like a blue purple, and it's not even completely fully open yet. I think this one is called Crystal Falls. I've had this one for quite some time, but just look at those blooms. One of my favorites. I'm so glad it did so well after I cut it back. I wasn't sure if it would. So we have some of these pink diamonds, bleeding hearts here that are starting to bloom. which are really cute. And the quickfire hydrangea over here is getting ready to bloom as well. You can see it's starting to put on all of its buds. And this is where I have hung one of my planters that I did for the sun. There's another one that is down there. And this is again one of my favorite salvias because it has such big blooms. I think this one's Rose Marvel. I have one that's Merlot Rose and one that's Rose Marvel, I believe. And I can't remember which one's which. I always get the two mixed up. But let's take a look over here at the fountain garden because you guys, this Weigela right here, whew, it is in full effect. Look at that. So pretty. And then the Allium giganteum out here by the fountain is also looking gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? What a stunning look right now. And these penstemon, these are the dusky violet. They are just starting to put on some buds. So I think we'll probably see by next week in our next tour, we'll get to see some flowers there. And these plum pudding heucheras, they're starting to put out these cute little blooms. I don't know how you can see these, but they're this beautiful little peachy creamy white. I like those a lot. And my roses, these are all the rage roses. They are starting to really look good as well. The clematis that had some of the aphids on it, I was able to continually spray those off with a hose, and it's doing much better and has its own bloom coming. So this is, I believe it's the same one as the other one that I just showed you. All right, well, let me show you these alliums over here because these alliums are the ones that I wasn't sure what they were called. And again, I think that they're really pretty, but they definitely need something dark behind them to really contrast with. And I think it would be nice if there was something that was kind of a maroon, but they're just these perfect little bells. Aren't they cute? All right, so over here, everything's looking good. These fruit punch Dianthus that I planted are starting to bloom. They're definitely much happier now that they're out of their nursery cans. And then these Violet Riot, the Violet Riot salvias here are really doing well. And I just love the contrast of them against these limoncello. These are barberries, which, just a heads up for people, those can be invasive, so beware if you're looking to plant them. And these cute heucheras are also blooming, and these have a little bit more of a pinky bloom to them. And then one of the exciting things is my climbing rose back here is starting to, oop, there's a pool ball, is starting to put some buds on it as well. I can't wait to see this one. I tied this one up and strung it along last year, and it died all the way back. I don't know if that's normal. It's my first time growing a climbing rose, so hopefully that's normal, and this year I get some blooms out of it and am able to start training it. All right, lots of chives in bloom. I will be cutting these all back probably as soon as they start to look like they're going to put on some seed heads, because I don't want them to self-seed around the garden. That is one of the things that you need to pay attention to if you decide to use allium as an ornamental onion instead of just in the garden. Okay, well, the back woodland garden is also looking really awesome right now because the hostas are finally starting to recover from some of that really bad cold weather, and then this rain has definitely helped them to begin to flush out. I have some Palace Purple who grows over here, some more of the Macrophylla geraniums, and then I have started planting out some of my pansies into the garden. I take them out of their pots and plant them in the shade because I find that that gives me maybe 3 more weeks of being able to enjoy the flowers on those. So I have just tucked those into this garden for now, and if any of them self-seed around the garden, I'm absolutely fine with that, because I think they're super cute. But if they don't, it's also okay, and I've managed to get a little bit more life out of them. My curly fries hosta here is getting bigger. I may actually divide this one this year. Things are definitely looking up now that we've gotten this rain. I had someone comment that my garden looked kind of young, and I think that's partially in response to the fact that I have done a lot of dividing over the last few years as I've expanded my garden beds, and so some of the hostas and things that take a few years to actually begin to look like they are mature are very young looking, in addition to the bad weather that we've had, which has slowed down their growth significantly this year. And for example, all of these hostas that are right in here, they would be full probably by next week, but they're probably a good 3 weeks behind this year. And then again, I have been really working on incorporating shrubs into my garden and small trees over the last couple of years. Because I have a pool, it's something that I really have to work at landscaping wise, in terms of making sure that I don't shade the pool so that it's not warm when we want to go swimming. I don't want it to be cold. And then also leaves can be a big thing. Debris that falls into the pool can be really annoying to have to clean up a lot. Aren't these painted ferns just starting to look really nice? Guys, I still do really have to go get some more mulch. Look at all these mushrooms. Some people freak out when they see mushrooms in their yard, and they think that means there's something wrong. But it's actually a good sign that the mulch or the leaves or things are breaking down naturally with organisms, and it's just fine. So I leave them, and I enjoy looking at them while they're there. My Japanese maples are all really doing so much better and coming back from all of the freeze damage that they had. So I'm just so happy about that, because I was really worried that it was going to take them several more weeks to do that, but they really are looking healthy. And again, if you're looking for something to light up the shade, these lemony lace elderberries and the golden coney grass are fantastic for that. My rhododendron is just about to put out some of its last blooms. This purple one. And lots of new growth on my other rhododendrons I have planted here. Now I'm going to show you what my flax looks like over here. It is, after I cut it back, so I cut it back because I want it to be bushier. You can see how when I cut it back at the buds, it has now branched out so that there are 2 more stems coming out where there was 1 before. So that's only going to provide me with more blooms and help keep it from getting leggy as the season wears on. And this is where I have my 2 shade hanging baskets over here, and I'm looking forward to seeing those fill in. That's going to be really nice. And I've tucked some more of those pink impatiens along the front of this border here, so you kind of can see a little continuity between the front yard, the backyard, the hanging baskets, as well as the garden border. And for those who may wonder, this is a Diablo 9 bark, so very similar to the summer wine ones that I will show you shortly, but a little darker foliage for sure. Which again, I just like the way that that looks with the ferns and their deep dark veining. This is the Bar Harbor Seaside Hydrangea, and it's definitely starting to flesh out. I'm getting ready to cut back my lungworts, so now that they are almost finished blooming, probably in a few days, again, I'll have to come through the garden and maybe I'll do a video to show you how I prune back several of the plants, like the chives and such, that I have to really do some maintenance on. So this corner of the garden with the plum tree is also still looking fabulous. And this is the Hesperus matronalis. As I said, some people think it's flax. It's not flax, but it looks a lot like that. And that will also be being cut back soon. And here's the Autumn Jubilee 9 bark, which is a much lighter color, but it is flowering as well. Some Patriot hostas back here. And again, these are ones that I divided last year. And the salvia back here has not put on bloom yet. I believe this is New Dimension Blue salvia, but it is just starting to put its spires up for us. And then we have some more Dianthus and some serious buds on these opening act blocks. So I can't wait to see those. They are going to bud out and burst very, very soon. All right, and now we have our ladybud over here, which is also looking glorious because the Dianthus in the front there is just spectacular in front of that Nepeta Walker's Low. And again, I've tucked some pansies, well, these are violas, down in front here because this is a partial shade bed, and I think those are going to be good for another few weeks. And this lobelia is starting to flesh out over her hair, which I think looks really cute. It's pretty. It's more Walker's Low over here. My bearded irises are just about done. They bloom for such a short period of time. But things over here are really beginning to pop. The onion's getting big. The chard's getting big. I have some hydrangea cuttings from last year. These are quick fire hydrangea cuttings. I'm starting to get tomatoes, guys. Pretty exciting. And look, my foxglove are starting to put on their buds. So that's going to be the next show here. My roses here are also starting to bloom. I'm definitely seeing aphids on several different plants, which bothers me. So I'm going to have to come through and take a peek at them. None of them seem like there's a ton of them. I'll just have to keep an eye out. The purple smoke bush is looking pretty. My peas have been flowering, so I'm probably going to get some peas this year. And look at my pretty summer wine 9 bark. These are flowering right now. There's 1, 2, and then the petite summer wine has a few less flowers, but I just think they're really gorgeous. And as I understand it, these last pretty well as cut flowers, so I'm going to give that a try as well. I have some dahlias right in here. They're still growing strong. They haven't obviously bloomed yet. They've got a ways to go to put on some growth. My elephant ears, I know many people are waiting for an update on those. They look great. They have adapted well. I've tucked some ornamental eggplant and some wave petunias into the container with them, but they both are very happy where they're at. And then my geranium here, I think this is Johnson's Blue. It could be Roseanne. They all look alike to me. I'm sorry, guys. But that's starting to bloom and looking pretty. And then I have these pots right here at the base of my stairs with some bunny tail grass that I grew from seed and some more lobelia. And over here is some milkweed, which comes up every year. That too can be a little bit invasive, but in the particular area it's in, it cannot get very far because it's pretty well surrounded by roots and concrete. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good. So much healthier. I do want to show you over here. I'm excited to see my pugster butterfly bushes coming back, and my, I think this is summer evening rose, berry rose, summer evening rose, something like that, hibiscus. And then I have my white wands veronica, which I can just start to see some of the white poking out behind the buds. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this tour. The very last thing that I'm going to show you today are these pots that we did together earlier this year with the pansies and the Hymenacalis. And they are really starting to bloom now, and they're so pretty. They're just so different. Look at that. And very tall. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my tour. If you did, I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.